Yes, we have made it to Thursday. It is the 6th of June, and it's a warm day outside, but it's a little humid. It's supposed to rain. I think it has been raining actually a little bit. Yes. I was gonna go outside for a run today, but I'm not quite in the groove yet enough to be doing that in the rain. You know what I'm saying? Like I can do it, but I'm still getting my body back used to running for miles and miles, especially in the heat. But anyway, again, we've made it. It's a good week. After the stream today, I'm gonna kind of chill today. Take a little time off. I was up late last night working, got a lot done. Yesterday was a fantastic work day. And tomorrow actually I'm going to check out a couple of apartments. I got to move out of this apartment that I'm in now at the end of July. So, um I'll be checking out a couple of spots for that. So hopefully all that goes well. And other than that, man, I'm feeling pretty good. I got this website pulled up. Um I'm trying to see if I need to pull up any other tabs. I don't think so. No, we good. Oh, we got Sigourney. We got Lord of Bananas. What's going on? How's everybody doing today? I came on at a weird time. You know what I'm saying? When I think after I move, what I'd like to do is try to have my streams or these streams at 11 o'clock. That's kind of what I used to do, but it's difficult for me to always do that. So I just come on when I can. But yeah, no, everything's good. I got to do laundry, of course. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into it. We got Libby. Hello, what's going on? How you doing? So we got, hold on, Mike Johnson asked about if he's weaponizing the House against Democrats. He gives a sharp, indignant no, but of course he is. So let's see what he has to say.
Sort of a pessimism it begins to develop, Mr. Speaker, that both sides are just playing this political game, a tit for tat game. What comes to mind is some of these actions that you have led post the Donald Trump convictions, where conservatives want a floor vote on a bill that would allow current or former presidents to move any state case to a federal court. I know Jim Jordan has hinted at denying federal funding for state prosecutors investigating Donald Trump. Measures that probably won't go very far. So why do them?
Well, because we have a responsibility here. You know, Congress has very particular duties under the Constitution. We have the responsibility of oversight, and that's what we've been engaging in. We have the responsibility to legislate and to appropriate. And when you're talking about funding for rogue prosecutors and offices like Alvin Bragg, who by some estimates, our early estimates, he received almost $1 million of federal taxpayer funds in the last year. To do what? To have politicized prosecutions of a political opponent of his party? He ran on that. That was the premise of his election to district attorney.
I certainly understand where you're coming from, Mr. Speaker.
But that's like an opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's totally an opinion that really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, Donald Trump is guilty for what he was tried for. He's being held accountable for the things that he did. So even if you want to grant it that it's all political, it was all a ploy because if Trump doesn't get convicted, then Joe Biden can't beat him. Okay, give that to people. Let them have that. But again, at the end of the day, Donald Trump is guilty for what he did. He's been a criminal his entire life. It's what he knows. It's what he does. Fraud is how he breathes. It's how he eats. It's how he gets by. You know. So that's it.
Speaker, but
Yeah.
are you weaponizing the House the same way
No.
you say Democrats were weaponizing the DOJ to get what they wanted? Are you just doing it in a bigger platform, the entire House of
No.
Representatives?
No, there is a very clear distinction between what we are doing and what they have done in weaponizing the judicial system. They're undermining the people's faith in our institutions, our system of justice itself. What we're doing, Neil, is the opposite. We are trying to...
Again, that's just rhetoric because outside of Republican voters, people don't really rush to the defense of Donald Trump at all. Donald Trump is incredibly unpopular outside of his core base. Joe Biden's unpopular as well. But the idea that the entire country's up in arms over Trump getting convicted for things that he did is ridiculous. We know most people are, worried about paying their bills, worried about their children's education and healthcare funds, stuff like that.
Adhere to the rule of law. We are trying to use the authority and the responsibility that we have in Congress to ensure that people can trust our justice system. It's absolutely essential to maintain a constitutional republic, and they are undermining the public's faith in that. We are here to hold the line and say, no, the rule of law has to be adhered to, and we can't have rogue prosecutors using our courts for political vendettas, and that's exactly what they're doing to Donald Trump.
Man, it will really be hard to be a member of Congress, like especially if you're somebody who genuinely wants to make a positive change. Because even if you like the corruption, of course, you got to deal with uh, powerful forces, powerful entities, powerful conglomerates of people uh, that are much more powerful than yourself, much more influential than you are alone. But also, just because of how corrupt the system is, overwhelmingly the kinds of people that it attracts are kind of just hollow shells who will just go wherever the political wind blows or do whatever their donors want them to do. More importantly, um, have no principles, stand on absolutely nothing, have no shame, don't mind looking like fools. It really would be difficult.
And I can tell you that people around this country see that clearly. I've traveled now to 100, done events in 123 cities in 29 states in the last
Right,
6 months.
exactly. That's a good point. What like with Hunter Biden, like what does Hunter Biden have to do with anything? But again, don't none of this mean anything. It means nothing. They know that though. I mean, as long as I've been alive, I'm 32, as long as I can think back to where, like I was really z- zeroing in on politics at all, was able to understand it. When you're a kid, there's really only so much you can understand. But even looking back in my lifetime, I was born into the Bill Clinton era. I was born in 1992. And, pretty much from then on to here, the Republican brand and the culture, among other things, has been to stick it to the libs no matter what. And that's all this is.
And a half months. Everywhere I go, Neil, east, west, north, south, it's the same. There's an energy out there because people are fed up with this, and they see that the Democrats and the far left have pushed this pendulum too far. It's going to begin to swing back, and we have to do our job here in Congress to assist with that, to hold these people.
The Democrats have pushed the pendulum too far, but reversing Roe v. Wade and passing 6-week abortion bans in red states, that's not pushing the pendulum too far.
Accountable and to ensure that the law is being adhered to. That's the effort that you'll see play out here in the coming weeks.
One of the things that makes it easy to not really tune in, I don't even know what this is, but this is Alan Dershowitz, but I don't know what this conversation is supposed to be about. It's on Newsmax. But yeah, no. Like I was saying, one of the things that makes it really easy to kind of not pay attention to Mike Johnson is how uncharismatic he is. Um, I don't really know what difference that makes. I still don't see any benefit to the Republican apparatus for replacing Kevin McCarthy. I mean, at this point, I don't think that it's really damaged them in any type of tangible way in the sense of like how it'll impact people showing up to the ballot box or not. But I just it just seems like a complete waste of resources. I think they probably would have been in a better position if Kevin McCarthy was still Speaker of the House. But it is what it is now. All right, let's see what's up. Now we got Steve Bannon ordered to prison. Man, literally everybody in Trump's circle, well, at least a whole bunch of the gang, a big portion of the gang has been to prison over some shit they did while Trump was in office, or they're preparing to go. It's all a giant conspiracy against a movement of people who want to make this country more white. I guess they want to secure the future of the country, even though the nation is still majority white. That's disappearing. That's slowly being etched away. And these types of things are very important to people like Steve Bannon. This is the type of stuff that's on the forefront of his concern. And so, of course, the minorities of the country, it's all a conspiracy to shut them down. And it's fucking dumb. Just a bunch of stupid losers who unfortunately have, and depending on what position they're appointed to or elected to, could have more power. But it's just like, if Trump wins in November, if he ends up winning, his cabinet is going to be I mean, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be absolutely terrible. I mean, you might have somebody like a Mike Pompeo in there, maybe. I mean, I think he said he didn't want to serve in Trump's or endorse him or serve in his cabinet again. But other than maybe someone like that, you're just going to have the Steve Bannons of the world. You're going to have the Richard Spencers. Richard Spencer. That's not who I'm thinking of the bald head dude. I'm not well, people like Richard Spencer still. That one guy, um, what's the name? That I don't remember his name, but he's like 1 year older than me. I'm 32. He's like 33 or 34. The guy who was in Trump's cabinet who posts on TikTok like, I always keep fake dollar bills in my glove compartment just in case I spot a homeless person who's begging for money. That way I can help clean them off the streets. Like, he'll have people like that. That will be the ilk of his cabinet. A bunch of disturbed, angry people who don't have a whole lot going on up here. So that's what he's gonna have. A federal judge on Thursday ordered Steve Bannon, an ex advisor to former President Trump, to begin serving his 4-month prison sentence by July 1st. Multiple outlets reported. Bannon will, and there'll be more on this because this just happened. So, the outlets will be talking about this over the next several days. Again, tomorrow, I got to check out a bunch of apartments, so I won't be streaming tomorrow. But I'll stream over the weekend and definitely Monday. But yeah, I gotta find a new place to live. And Saturday, I'm getting my hair unbleached. I'm getting it back to its regular color. We gonna darken it back up. Now, back to business. Bannon was already sentenced, but the judge delayed his surrender date while he appealed. He was sentenced in 2022 for contempt of Congress after defying a subpoena from the January 6th Select Committee. He failed to turn over documents or appear for a deposition to the committee, citing executive privilege, though he had been a private citizen for more than 3 years by January 6th of 2021. A federal appeals court rejected Bannon's conviction appeal last month. Quote, I support Trump and the Constitution, and if they want to put me in jail for that, so be it. Bannon said on Fox News after his conviction. The Select Committee wanted his testimony because he was in communication with key officials before the January 6th Capitol attack. Bannon's appeal no longer raises substantial question of law, U.S. District Judge Carl Nichols said on Thursday. The surrender date could be delayed if Bannon's legal team seeks a stay of his order. Earlier this year, another Trump advisor, Peter Navarro, became the first high ranking Trump official to serve prison time over actions related to the January 6th Capitol riots. Well, there you go. Birds of a feather. You know what I mean? Indeed, indeed, birds of a feather. But yeah, no, again, I just, if Donald Trump loses the election, then, he's going to have to go straight into his next criminal trials, the documents case and conspiracy to overturn the election case. And then I think there's one more. Those two for sure. Um, I don't see him winning those. I don't see how, especially on the losing streak that he's been on. I don't see why that would just all of a sudden change. I think there's a very, very good chance that Donald Trump ends up going to prison for quite some time. I mean, why not? Because he's a rich white man. Like that shit don't mean that if he's not president, that ain't gonna mean a damn thing. Not at this point. Not after all the people that he's thrown under the bus. Not after, I mean, all the money that he's lost. He doesn't have anything to give people anymore. And he put himself in this position. So he better become president because if he doesn't, I mean, like the best he could look at is house arrest for the rest of his life. But I just don't see any reason for anybody to be lenient with him. I just don't. I mean, he the for this last criminal trial, the maximum was like 4 years or something like that. But for these next trials, I mean, you talking decades, like total, he could get a whole lot of time. Like, why would they just be like, you know what? No, I don't see that happening. But we'll have to find out. We're all gonna find out sooner than later, one day at a time. Now, where we at? Where we at now? Let's check out Trump's VP picks. Let's check out. We kind of looked at this before. I don't think much has changed. Definitely is not going to be Tim Scott. I mean, even if you take out the fact of him being like a black man, um, even if you take that out, he's just I just don't think he's a match. Like his personality just doesn't fit. He doesn't really have the ability to rally people together. Now, I do think that Donald Trump would have a problem with a VP who was as kind of energetic, charismatic, whatever you want to call it, as him or more so. I think he would definitely have an issue with that. But I think that Tim Scott is just so lacking in talent in that area that it just not no. JD Vance, I don't know, maybe. I mean, why not? Perhaps. I don't see him picking Marco Rubio. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he would. I think he would fit with the agenda. Tom Cotton would definitely fit with the agenda, but I think that he could perhaps garner a little bit too much attention. Maybe. I don't know. Doug Burgum. Uh, yeah, right. Maybe, but he would be like a newer Mike Pence, but like less evangelical. Just a little less evangelical. Um, but kind of like who the hell is he type of deal. Does he really speak? Elise Stefanik. Maybe, perhaps. I mean, I could see that. I could see that. We got Queen Fritz in the building. What's going on, sister? How you doing? Maybe Elise Stefanik, Ben Carson, Byron Donalds. All right, let's see. I mean, who the hell knows, man? We're really gonna have to just wait and see. I don't know who knows, but it's interesting to look at the little bobbleheads. Yes, exactly. A smorgasbord of shit people. I yeah, I don't really know who of these would be a great pick, but again, like what can we really expect from this next Trump administration? If he wins, what can we expect other than complete and utter chaos? Even more and deliberate chaos, even more so than the last go round. Way more so than the last go round. It'll be some of the most ridiculous shit in history, literally. But yeah, no, man, I still continue to believe that if Donald Trump, if he loses, he is in trouble. If he loses, he is in trouble. I mean, he's already his legacy's over. His legacy's done. He ain't got nothing to pass on to his. I mean, his kids are adults. His kids are in their 40s and shit. I mean, what's his name? Barron, he's the youngest. What? He just graduated high school, I think. So, but other than that, the rest of his kids are in their 40s. So, man, becoming president of the United States was the worst thing ever for Donald Trump. He would be living so high right now if he just dropped out of the race. He would be living so high. It's crazy. But nah, I don't. All right, let's see. All right, so we got a Trump video. Trump cites 5 Fox News legal pundits to insist his conviction was bogus. They said there was no case. I guess.
Let me ask you this. You had said something during the trial in New York. Mother Teresa couldn't beat these charges was one thing that you said, and you turned out to be right. And secondly,
Yeah, Scott. I think I could see people maybe not as big as the first go round, maybe not, but I definitely I think there yeah people will try to make some noise if he loses for sure. But I think that at this point it's just not clear who's going to take this election. It still isn't. It really isn't. Um Neither one of these guys are in good positions at all. But obviously, at this point, Trump's entire motivation is to get in there, pardon himself, and take revenge. You know that's what's on his mind. Get in there, take revenge, pardon himself as much as he can, and try not to leave office. He gonna try to stay in there as long. Like that's literally what he's gonna do. Like what? Because what else can he do? What else can he do if he doesn't win and then pardon himself and then stay in office? He's fucked. He's screwed because he's guilty. You feel me? He's guilty. He owes all this money. His businesses have been shut down. His name and his legacy mean nothing. Nobody wants to work with him. He's thrown everybody on the bus, under the bus. He has no real friends. Man, I do not envy this man. What a hell of a shit life. Man, all he had to do was not become president.
You were asked about the possibility that Judge Merchan might send you to jail. You said something that really kind of got my attention. What did you say? That it didn't faze you in the sense that if that's what it takes, you don't have to be doing this. You could be playing golf every day and you probably wouldn't be charged with anything.
Well, I think I say it about almost all of these cases that are brought in.
The sense that if that's what it takes, you don't have to be doing this. You could be playing golf every day and you probably wouldn't be charged with anything.
Well, he wouldn't be charged with anything if he never became president. But after he became president, it was too late. It was over in terms of him being in the position he's in now.
Well, I think I said.
But if January 6th never would have happened and he just would have walked away, then perhaps he wouldn't be in this position either. Maybe not. Either way, he's in the bed that he made for himself.
Say it about almost all of these cases that are brought against me. They are doing it for the purposes of hurting a political opponent of Biden and trying to get him to win, and he's the worst president in the history of our country.
That's such a ridiculous statement. Again, Biden has his issues, but it's just such a lazy take. He's the worst president in the history of our country, like in the history of the nation, like oh god. And it's just another example of how he knows nothing. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't know shit about anything. Not in depth, not really.
But in the case that you're talking about, I said very strongly that I'm very proud to fight for our Constitution. And that,
yes, that's exactly when he got humiliated at the correspondence dinner. That's when it got rolling.
that's what it takes. Everybody said, this is such a minor thing. You don't go to jail for this, all of them. But you don't understand what we're dealing against, Sean. We're dealing against a system that is so corrupt. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. I did nothing wrong in any of these things.
I did nothing wrong in any of these things. That's amazing. That's amazing because what can you do with that? What are you going to do with that? I mean, and not just him, but like his core base that refuses to leave him. What are you going to do with that? He did nothing wrong. It's all fake. It's all fake. Okay.
I did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong at all. And
Then why wasn't Bush gone after like this? Why hasn't anyone ever in the history of presidents in the United States, why has no one else ever been gone after like this? Why? I mean, it's just you'd think that Donald Trump like ended poverty completely the way that he talks about how they come after him. You'd think that he completely dismantled the power the hierarchical system that we have in place right now, the way that they talk about him. It's so stupid.
And whether you look at the analysts, whether it's Greg Jarrett or Andy McCarthy or Jonathan Turley or your friend, the great one, Mark Levin,
Mark Levin, the great one.
Dershowitz, all of them,
Judge
they
Jeanine.
said
Dershowitz.
there's no case here. Judge Jeanine was so incredible 2 weeks ago.
Jeanine.
She was unbelievable. Angry. She was angry. And you know why they were angry? Because they love our country and they see what's happening. It's totally unconstitutional what they've done. And if you look at the statements made by the people I just mentioned, and
then again, it's like, what's happening other than you being held to account? How does this impact anyone else really other than you? Other than the fact that we're going through a historical period at the moment. How does this impact anyone else's day-to-day life? It really doesn't. Like you you know, it's just, this is just Donald Trump being held accountable. That's all it is.
I'm not friends with any. I mean, I think they respect what I've done. They might respect me. They might not respect me. But they said there's no case. It shouldn't have been brought. And the way the judge charged the jury, told the jury, gave jury instructions, nobody's ever heard anything like that.
It was
Yeah, I'm so wild that this has never happened before. I ended hunger. They talk about this dude like he ended hunger or some shit. He took down the corporate structure and, you know, Exxon Mobil, all the big investors for them, all the big investors in the tech world. They got to get him back because, like, come on, man. This dude gave corporate America the biggest tax cut they've ever seen in modern times, at least. Joe Biden went in office, didn't even put it back up to where it was before Trump did his thing. It was at 35. Trump knocked it to 21. Biden raised it to 27, I believe. Like, it's so dumb. It's embarrassing, man. We got Mike Boy in the building. What's going on? Ex-DACA recipient wins New Mexico primary. One of the first former DACA recipients to receive a White House presidential appointment won the Democratic primary on Tuesday for a New Mexico state Senate seat. I guess this is a perfect example of the white replacement theory, right? White replacement, the type of thing that Tucker Carlson's always talking about. This is why they want immigrants in the country, so that they can grow up and maybe possibly win an election. Perhaps. Oh God, it's so dumb. Cindy Nava was one of many Latinas to win legislative primaries in New Mexico, where the state house is set to become majority women. She is part of the Democrats' progressive wing that is emphasizing abortion rights and paid family leave. Nava could become one of the first former DACA recipients to win an election. Once an undocumented immigrant from Mexico who worked without pay in the New Mexico legislature for a decade. Damn. For 10 years, Nava stepped down from her position at the senior policy advisor as the senior policy advisor to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Secretary. She got involved in politics immediately after high school and worked in the New Mexico State House on behalf of Democratic lawmakers. She couldn't get paid because she was undocumented. She eventually enrolled in the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program and became a U.S. citizen through marriage. Nava will face off against Republican Audrey Trujillo in the November general election. I mean, this is just like, this is literally what white replacement theory is about. This is literally it right here. That and voters, because somehow undocumented people are, going to vote. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. All right, now let's see what's up with this. Oh. What we got with Jack Dorsey? What are you talking about? Twitter founder Jack Dorsey warns social media algorithms are draining people of their free will, and Elon Musk agrees with him. Let's see what he has to say. If social media is the equivalent of a weapon of mass destruction, then Jack Dorsey would be a contender for the digital era's Oppenheimer. Robert Oppenheimer. Speaking at the 16th annual Olson Freedom Forum on Wednesday, the remorseful Twitter co-founder expressed how conflicted he felt at his own creation, born out of the noble ideas of open source protocols, before becoming corrupted by the realities of needing to survive in a competitive marketplace. And he had a warning: social media and internet companies that grew into trillion-dollar behemoths by discovering content in the vast, unorganized expanse of the internet and curating it to maximize user engagement are just the first manifestation of this danger. What Facebook and Google were for the web, companies like OpenAI are for the coming era of artificial general intelligence. AI tools will now AI tools will know us better than we know ourselves, and either through design or default influence our thinking at a subconscious level, even if their algorithms are made transparent. I mean, you know what? Honestly, it seems like it's just the evolution of advertisement, really. The evolution and progression of marketing and advertisement, because this isn't new. This this nothing about this is new. And really ever since writing has been around, this has been around. It's just progressed and regressed over time. But yeah. Quote, this is going to sound a little crazy, but I think the free speech debate is a complete distraction right now. I think the real debate should be about free will. We are being programmed. We are being programmed based on what we say we're interested in, and we're told through these discovery mechanisms what is interesting. And as we engage and interact with this content, the algorithm continues to build more and more of this bias. That is true, but again, it's not new. The concept of this is nothing new whatsoever. Um it's just it's just more advertisement and more marketing, propaganda. There's always ways to combat this, and a lot of that actually starts in the home, to truthfully, especially now that you got kids, 2-year-old, 3-year olds. Kids don't never want to take the iPad out of their face. A lot of that can be combated in the home. I think a lot of that is responsibility of parents to play the largest role in working around that, so that you can understand, hey, there's a whole world in real life is outside of this screen. But outside of that, um I don't really think this is some type of new scare at all. It's 20 minutes, so we're not going to watch it. Dorsey, who left the board of microblogging uh, platform Blue Sky to endorse Elon Musk's rival X last month, received moral support from the serial entrepreneur who purchased his creation for $44 billion in November of 2022, only to refashion it in his own image, complete with mass firings and a total strategic rebranding. Yeah, Jack is right, the Tesla CEO posted on Wednesday. According to Dorsey, revealing the underlying code, as Musk has done with X, to create transparency and build trust won't help either. Even if an algorithm is open source, it remains effectively a black box in his view. Like, again, all of this stuff is real, but um I feel like people like Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg, and a lot of people who work in tech, like, they often don't realize that most people aren't as into tech as they are. You know what I mean? Like, so they'll say stuff like, "Oh, AI is going to replace everything. You won't have to do anything." Like, no, bro, that's how you live. Like, you are helping to advance that field, and it's like your primary interest. But most people aren't gonna be this tapped into anything. You feel me? So I feel like people who work in tech often forget that. But it is an issue for sure, but it's not like something that we can't combat. Elon Musk, yup, but X is just like a giant porn site now. That's basically what it is. It's just anything goes on there. But nah, yeah, again, this is definitely an issue, but it's not a new issue whatsoever. It's just not. Um Ever since writing has been around, this has been around. And honestly, this type of stuff has to have been around before writing was invented because we're such social creatures. So anybody who had influence over the minds of others, this was a thing. This is why cults exist. If you separate people, like look at all the cults and like the 70s were fucking crazy. In the 70s, they had the phenomenon of serial killers all over the place, or at least discovering them all over the place. They had all these cults popping up and shit. But we didn't have social media back then, but these people were isolated, and through repetition and through various psychological means, they were made to see the world a certain way. So again, it's like and that's true. Like AI can only do what you tell it to do. It can't it's not human. It can't be human. But even outside of that, it's oftentimes tech people are like, ah, but it's like, nah, bro, this isn't new. Now, this shit is fucking hilarious right here. Hold up. This shit is funny as hell. Remote Amazon tribe left hooked on porn after finally connecting to the internet. We all got the same needs. We all got the same drives, baby. Yo, this shit is funny. Okay. Hold on, my bad. I was sending off a text. This shit is hilarious though, man. This is absolutely hilarious. Very good point. They say again, it's not new. Like human beings are always susceptible to influence, and there's always a way to combat these types of things. You know what I'm saying? So, um, this shit is mad funny. What started as a moment of optimism and excitement was swiftly transformed into something worrying and sinister after a remote tribe in the Amazon rainforest was finally hooked up to the internet. The Marubo people had resisted modernity and preserved their indigenous way of life in one of the most isolated stretches of the planet for centuries. But then in September, they found themselves equipped with high speed internet thanks to Elon Musk. The tribe is one of hundreds across Brazil that have been given access to the web through Starlink. I mean, honestly, if you aren't connected to the modern world, then I don't. The internet really is of no use to you. Like if you unless you participate in modern society, I don't really see what the internet can do to help you. I mean, you can learn from it, but like it makes sense that they would use it as a dopamine rush because what else one that's what pretty much everybody uses their phone for at some point, but other than that, I mean, this is the least surprising thing ever. They got the high speed internet. They got it through Starlink, this with the SpaceX and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? But rather than feel beautifully connected to the world, the installation has left the 2,000 member Marubos feeling bitterly divided as pornography and social media poisons its youngsters. Oh, here we go. Oh, social media. Oh, no, it's over now. It's really too late now. They didn't got their kids connected to the world of social media. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. When it arrived, everyone was happy. Sainama Marubo, 73, told the New York Times, whose reporters traveled to the tribe's remote villages, some of which take a week to reach. But now things have gotten worse. Sainama explains that the internet has brought a number of undeniable benefits, such as the ability to video chat with faraway loved ones or call for help in emergencies. Absolutely. However, she said the youth has grown increasingly disinterested in more traditional activities such as making dyes and jewelry from berries and shells. Quote, young people have gotten lazy because of the internet. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Lazy ass society. A lazy ass modern society. We don't got to do nothing no more. They're learning the ways of the white people. Yes. Yes. Here we go. They're learning the ways of the white people. Those lazy, entitled white people. That shit is hilarious. After just 9 months with Starlink, the Marubo already find themselves faced with the same issues that plague Western families: addictive social networks, misinformation, scams, violent video games, and minors watching adult content. Alfredo Marubo, leader of the Marubo Association of Villages, has become the tribe's most vocal critic of the internet. He told the New York Times that he worried that his culture's oral history and customs will be lost because now everyone is so connected that sometimes they don't even talk to their own family. And two, like it's interesting to hear this perspective because, like, you know, not a lot of people are left. I mean, other than boomers and up, who remember life when the internet just wasn't around at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, in the 90s, the internet was around. The internet's been around my whole life. I didn't have my first cell phone till I was 14 years old, but like it's so pervasive in our modern day society and culture that it just like it's a part of us. When our power goes out, when our phones aren't working, immediately, like it's like, oh God, I'm somewhere else. Like you're literally disconnected from the modern world if you don't have electricity and the internet. It's that important now. So, like these types of direct things is real for them to see. Like, like we don't socialize in person as much because we don't have to anymore. And it's interesting, especially when it comes to things like mental health. I mean, there's all types of stuff that people go through and all types of reasons we could be down or all types of conditions people have or whatever. But it's amazing the power of good social connections. You know, being outside in the sun with a good person or a group of good people is some of the best medicine in the world, especially when it comes to, like mental health. If you're feeling bad, if you're feeling down, being around good groups of people can make all the difference in the world. Or opposite, if you're around bad groups of people, that can make everything worse. It can totally change how you interact with life and how you see the world. Um, so yeah, this article is interesting in many ways. He admitted that he felt most concerned by the newfound interest in pornography, particularly given that Marubo culture frowns upon mere kissing in public. We're worried young people are going to want to try it, he said of the graphic sex depicted in videos, which young men now send each other in group chats. He's like, yo, this shit is crazy. What they got going on in here? The type of sex people got going on around the world. Okay, other people said that he was happy that the internet was helping to educate his children. He also felt concerned about first person shooter games. I'm worried that they're suddenly going to want to mimic them. Huh, that's definitely a super old school worry. And yet, many tribe members continue to extol the internet's positive power. The biggest benefit is they can get help in emergencies. Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't deny that. I mean, because whether it be weather and climate disasters, maybe there's some type of pathogen that's going around in the tribe. So yeah, definitely, this is priceless to be able to call for help because you know we have modern medicine now, we have modern infrastructure now. So if you're ever going through some shit, you should be able to have access to assistance. So well, Jenny, see, that's the world we live in now. There's always an excuse. You know what I mean? There's always an excuse. Everything is a gift and a curse. Though I don't envy you with the yard work though. But man, sometimes yard work is enjoyable. It depends on what it is. It just depends on what you got to do. I don't know if you enjoy it though. So, either way, you got to get it done. Eventually, you got to get it done. He pointed out that a venomous snake bite can require swift rescue by helicopter, but before the internet, the Marubo relied on amateur radio to relay urgent messages through several villages in order to reach the authorities. Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like pretty normal, regular concerns, but the only difference, well, I don't know about the biggest difference for this would be that these people live separated from modern society. So there's definitely concern about their culture just disappearing entirely. You know what I mean? Which is definitely a reasonable concern. Yeah, definitely a reasonable concern. Now, I don't really know what my man's was expecting here, but you can't do stuff like this to people, even if it wasn't your girlfriend. Even it doesn't matter who it is. You can't do this to a roommate. You can't do this to a friend. You can't do this to nobody. Hold on one sec. Let me send this off real quick. Oh, but yes, actually, the next mental health episode that we do is going to be basically mental health in ancient times. So we'll be talking about how people viewed and dealt with mental health, like people who were schizophrenic like 1,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like 2,000 years ago. Like how people used to try to give them exorcisms and stuff like that. It's gonna be good. Uh and it's gonna be funny. Hold on one sec. Uh, all right, my bad. Had to send off a little text. Oh, Davina, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. You say, I'd rather watch porn. Why make things out of berries when you can play with your own? Hell yeah. And again, you can't blame them. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame them whatsoever. The kids, they're curious. They know that there's a whole world out there. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Thank you for being here kicking it with us. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. But yeah, no, that was interesting. And again, too, definitely important because of emergencies if they need help and for education. She kicked her boyfriend out after he gave her cat away behind her back. What? Okay. As a proud dog mom, I always tell my friends and family that I know I'll have found my soulmate when I meet someone who is just as, or at least almost as crazy about my dog as I am. But when your partner doesn't like your pet, things can get very disappointing very quickly. One woman is at a loss for what to do after her boyfriend gave her pet cat away when she was out of town. Bro, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's so disrespectful. And like again, it doesn't matter who you do that to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it was your girlfriend. It doesn't matter who it is. Like that is incredibly egregious on so many levels. She's 23 and he was 25. Hold on. She's 23 and was with her 25-year-old boyfriend for 2 years, and they lived together for a year. When she and her boyfriend moved in together, she had to take her beloved pet cat Luna with her. I've had Luna since she was a kitten. She's been my companion through a lot of tough times, and I love her dearly. My boyfriend, however, is not a cat person. He never liked Luna much, but tolerated her for my sake. Recently, she noticed her boyfriend was complaining about Luna more than usual. At one point, he said she was too much trouble and mentioned he thought it'd be a good idea to find her a new home. She told her boyfriend there was no way she'd ever get rid of Luna and reminded him of how important Luna was to her. He was like, nah, fuck that. He said, fuck that. I mean, this was just dumb. This was just stupid. I mean, he's, I mean, I would not, even at 25, like, I guess 25, you could say, oh, he's young and dumb, but I would never do this. Like, this is just a terrible thing to do. Even for the cat, too. Like, what the fuck? Like, unfortunately, her boyfriend didn't listen. Last weekend, I went to visit my parents for a couple of days, and when I came back, Luna was gone. My boyfriend told me he had given her to a friend who supposedly wanted a cat. I was furious. I demanded he tell me where she was, but he refused, saying it was for the best and that I would thank him later. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. You stupid bastard. Nah. Who the hell does this dude think he is? This is incredibly an unbelievable red flag. What else will he do? Because I think it's best. It's bad. Like, oh, this guy is very controlling and very controlling. And yeah, nah, yeah, nah. You'll thank me later. I'm 25. I'm 25. I know what's best for you. I'm just gonna give away, and it's not even like, oh, you just got we got a cat a few weeks ago and it's just not working out. No, this cat has been in her life for a long time. It's an important companion. He's like, no, I'm not gonna tell you where the cat is. Oh no, oh no. I was so angry and heartbroken that I told him to pack his things and leave. Yeah, I mean, yeah, come on. I mean, there's no coming back from this whatsoever. Then her now ex boyfriend had the audacity to argue that she was overreacting and told her Luna was just a cat and you're just some dude out here. Luna's just a cat and you're just some guy. And they could not get a pet, and they could not get a pet they both liked, and they could now get a pet they both liked instead, I guess. Now she's looking for him. She called the police. Now he's been texting me nonstop, calling me names and saying I'm being irrational and cruel. No, he's just he lost. He took a gamble and he lost, and he feels stupid. He feels really, really stupid. Yeah, I wonder what he actually really did with the cat. Um, but yeah, he took a very dumb gamble. He lost, and he can't accept it. So he's blowing up her phone and calling her names, trying to share some of that shame and embarrassment with her. But it's not transferring. He has to hold that L. You know what I'm saying? No, he really is lucky he didn't get hurt, because that was nuts. Like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? That shit is fucking evil. And then and then you gonna call her, oh, you're dumb. I'm gonna text you. Well, I guess it's better late than never. But yeah, he's this guy is something else. This guy is certainly something else. We got another one that seems a bit problematic. This seems a bit problematic here. Her husband lied and didn't pay their mortgage for close to a year, so they might lose the house. Again, this is another situation that it doesn't really matter who this is. If this wasn't your wife, if this was just a friend, if this was just somebody that you own property with, if this was just somebody that um you were in business with of some kind, you know, you can't, for whatever reason you're not paying something, they need to know. Is there no money? They need to know that so that y'all can work out a plan so that you can know what to do moving forward. But eventually, I mean, people are gonna find stuff like this out. You know what I mean? You eventually people are gonna find stuff like this out. So but let's see. Several days ago, this 34-year-old woman made a shocking discovery. Apparently, her 41-year-old husband hasn't been paying their mortgage for the last 11 months. Yeah, I mean, again, like it's what you don't want to disappoint. I don't want to disappoint you. So I'll just let you find out. I'll just let you find out when we're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt instead of a few $1,000s in debt. I'll let you find out on your own because I don't want to hurt your feelings. She trusted that he was making the mortgage, that he was making sure the mortgage was covered, but he lied to her face about it, so they might lose their house. Now she and her husband have separate finances and their own bank accounts. The only things they are both on are her husband's car and their home. Her husband makes twice as much as she does, and they divide up their bills in a way that they both think is equal. So apparently he just wasn't paying it for whatever reason. They each have credit card debt that they acquired before knowing one another, and they are working to pay that off. One of the things he covers is the mortgage in full, she explained. He works in accounting and I work in education. Oh, it gets worse. It just keeps getting worse and worse. Yeah, he can't. I mean, it's like, come on, man. Like, I get, whatever the reason is, you can't hide stuff like this from people. Again, if you were in business with somebody, if you're just friends, it doesn't matter. I have never been great at managing my money, so he does my monthly budget for me, has access to all of my accounts, and knows what my debts are. It's raining outside. There has always been a veil of secrecy around his situation, but he has always assured me everything was fine on his end. Money was always tight, but he was always almost caught up. When I would ask specific questions, he would get kind of defensive, and I felt it wasn't worth digging for more info and took his word on things. Taking his word on things was pretty naive of me, considering our biggest issues in the past had revolved around him lying. Back when she began dating her husband, he mentioned he was trying to complete his master's degree, but she later learned he was only completing his bachelor's. Yeah, yeah, it seems like he just lies. He just tells lies for no reason. He lied to her and claimed to have finished his bachelor's program already. I mean, yeah, he just seems pathological because these are pointless lies. Like these lies don't help you in any way. It's just a deep lie. It's not like, oh, I'm stuck in traffic, but really you haven't left the house yet, or you don't want somebody to find out something that may hurt their feelings, or like this is not one of those things. This is like you lie about big stuff for no real good reason, because I mean, what is the point of lying about this? If you're getting your bachelor's degree, w- why is that? Why can't you just say that? You know what I mean? Her husband's reason for the lie was that he felt, oh, there we go. There we go. He felt shame over her having a higher level of education than he did. So I guess he lied about not paying the mortgage because he would have felt shame. But again, it's like, dude, what you got to feel even more shame now. This is not the way to handle things. She let it go as it made her feel bad that he was so embarrassed. Oh, that's just manipulative. He tried to make her feel bad. I mean, I'm sure this is true, but he also tried to make her feel bad so she wouldn't pry deeper. Later on, around a year following the birth of their son, she caught her husband lying about smoking cigarettes. The third lie she noticed was a year ago when her husband didn't make his car payment on time. She also pointed out to him that if he was having a problem paying their bills, to please inform her, but he said that wasn't the case. Yeah, that's all you got to do is tell somebody. Then a couple days ago, she was given a notice that daycare payments for their son were behind. Oh yeah, he's tripping. This dude, he's tripping. Like, dude, what are you doing? You're just not paying for anything. Like, what are you doing? She questioned her husband about it. And again, it's all unnecessary because shit happens. So, like, but this is like an consistent, ongoing thing. But most of the time, like if let's say you lose your job or who knows, all types of stuff happens. Usually people are like, "Hey, this is what's up." So you come together and you make plans on how to deal with the situation. Maybe you need to downsize, maybe you need to sell some stuff, whatever. You feel me? Like, but this is terrible. And they got a kid together, so yeah, this dude just lies. He's completely unreliable. She questioned her husband about it, and he lied to her once more while claiming he couldn't take a certain amount of money out of the ATM to make the payments. Is he secretly hooked on drugs or something? What the fuck is going on? But she's not talking like he's acting different or something. Yeah, exactly. This dude's got some type of secret to do. Like, what's going on, man? Like, why aren't you paying for anything? Like, you got to be putting the money somewhere. Because there's sometimes you get behind on bills. Sometimes you might get a little behind on the mortgage, but not, oh, I haven't paid the mortgage for 11 months. That's that's not typical. Stuff happens, and then you're like, oh, I can only pay X this month, but not paying anything at all. I mean, you don't need like you're not even trying to work with them. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of the time, if you're if you're if you don't have a douchebag landlord, if your landlord is a pretty decent person, they'll typically work with you because it's better to get their money later than never at all. Like if something happens, like if you can only but this dude just wasn't paying it at all. So like when they go to court, like cuz when they go like there's going to be some court date where they got to go, it's like what's your argument? What can you say? You can't say, "Oh, I've been trying to pay as much as possible." No, it's just the judge is gonna look at it and be like, "Oh, this motherfucker ain't paid a dime in 11 months." She asked him if he needed help. Was the mortgage current? He said, "Yeah, it should be." Then I asked again and begged him to tell me the truth and found out he hadn't paid the mortgage in 11 months. Bro, that's crazy. He says he is sorry. He feels bad. He didn't know what to do. About a year ago, his health insurance costs increased dramatically and he could no longer afford the mortgage. I don't fully believe that. Instead of asking me to take on the insurance through my job or talking to me at all, he decided to just not pay it. I don't fully believe that at all because, again, this is habitual. This is like patterns, like this is a pattern. If this was just about your health insurance payments going up, you would have told her that. Y'all would have made a plan. You would have came together and been like, "Okay, we're going to have to spend less on this. We're going to have to sell the car. I'll get a second job." That's what most people do in these situations. But again, I don't believe this. I mean, it may be true that his health insurance costs went up, but I don't fully believe it because he's also not paying for daycare and he just lies. I'm working on my master's, but actually you're working on your bachelor's. Like, dude, come on. She was pregnant when her husband made this decision, and he says he didn't want to bring it up to stress her out. Oh, he was being considerate. That's a I was being considerate. I didn't want to stress you out. I was thinking about the baby because, like what are you talking about? Don't you think it'll be more stressful for her to think about the fact that y'all got a year's worth of mortgage to pay and now y'all got a baby? This is hilarious. Well, it's not hilarious, but it is. Last week, her husband applied for relief in regards to their mortgage, so he's waiting to hear if they qualify. You should have done that earlier. Now again, it doesn't matter what you do. You're less likely to win anything from the state at this point. The judge is going to look at you and tell you to fuck off because you haven't paid anything in 11 months. You're not behind, you're super behind. What does that look like? Looks like you don't give a damn. And then they're gonna look into your other records and see, oh, you ain't paid this, you ain't paid that, you ain't paid that. Well, they ain't gonna help you. They're gonna look at you and call you and strike the gavel, send your ass to do whatever it is that they do. And then why would the state give you assistance to pay your mortgage? You gonna go there and be like, I haven't paid a dime in 11 months. They're more likely to give assistance to people who are trying. You have to try. If you don't try, it's like that in life, period. As long as you're trying, people will typically work with you. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta try. But if you're not trying, make room for people who are. If they don't, they're headed right into foreclosure. She can't let this go. She shouldn't let it go. She feels furious as well as stabbed in the back. She has every right to feel that way. Her husband insists he was trying to simply protect her. Dude, you're 41 years old. Shut the fuck up. I was just trying to protect. I was trying to protect you by making everything worse. I was thinking about you, baby. I was trying to protect the family by fucking things up. What this guy? She has since asked her husband to give her access to all of his accounts. And after fighting her at first and getting mad, he forked it over. Yeah, dude, because clearly, and he's an accountant too. What, like, bro, are you secretly addicted to drugs? Because you're an accountant. So, like, everything about this is just no. As far as I can tell, no gambling or drug addiction or anything crazy, just living beyond our means and an alarming amount of DoorDash charges. Oh, God. Maybe that's true, because I mean, if he was addicted to drugs or something, then his behavior would likely reflect that. I always knew he would lie about things that weren't super important, but thought he was overall a responsible, reasonable person. And I never in a million years would have imagined he would do something like this to our family. Is this something we could come back from? No, it is not, because that's who he is and it is who he will continue to be. It's too permeated into everything he does. That this isn't going to change. But yeah, no, yeah, uh yeah, it's probably gambling. It's probably gambling. Cuz again, it's like if if it was just your health insurance, why wouldn't you bring that up? Because paying $0 for that long, bruh, come on, man. I mean, look, I don't care how progressive of a person you are. You can't defend that. You can't. Nobody can look at that and say this person's doing their best. Clearly, you're not doing your best. Clearly, you're not. You know, like so yeah. But yeah, no, gambling is a motherfucker, man. Being addicted to anything is a motherfucker, but gambling may be one of the worst because people blow so much money gambling just like that. Just like that. I don't have the personality for that shit. I do have an addictive personality. I like drugs, I like sex, but gambling, I'm not an adrenaline junkie though. And to me, gambling kind of like is more of an adrenaline type of thing because it's the chance. It's like, oh, I could, but the prospect of losing $400 like that for no reason, no, no, I can't get down with that. I'll spend $400 on some drugs because at least I can consume the drugs over a period of time. But losing $400 because somebody sprained their ankle, no, no, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, no, I don't have the personality for the shit. Most people I know who I do know people who play like poker and they do it like responsibly, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't just blow everything, or I know people who gamble relatively responsibly. But all of them are like the type of people who will jump out of a plane. And I'm not the type of person who will jump out of a plane. You know what I'm saying? Because if I jump out, because of the way I think, like if I jump out of a plane and I pull my parachute and that motherfucker doesn't open, I'm gonna be mad as hell. I'm gonna be falling to the ground just thinking like all I had to do today was not this. All I had to do was anything else in the world, and I wouldn't be plummeting at 500 miles an hour to my death right now. You know what I'm saying? But people who gamble are the type of people who don't seem to think about those kinds of things. And that doesn't make me better than you. It just makes me less crazy than you, I suppose. You feel me? Like like literally every single person I know who gambles, they got pictures and videos of themselves on their Instagram jumping out of a fucking plane like it's just the greatest thing on earth. And that just will never be me. I also will never go very, very deep into the ocean because fuck the ocean. There's too many things in the ocean, and we're just not supposed to be there. I'll be on the beach, I'll be in the shallows, but no, no. Fuck being soup, fuck the clouds, and fuck the ocean. I'm gonna stay in my lane. You feel me? Now we had a very, very good Thursday live stream, and I got stuff to do tomorrow. I got to go check out some apartments, so I won't be streaming tomorrow. I might stream over the weekend, but I'm gonna be pretty busy. But regardless, I will definitely be streaming on Monday. Um, but yeah, man, thank y'all for everything that you do. Thank you for joining me. And I really appreciate y'all love and support. Yes, there's that type of danger is I just can't do it. You feel me? All right, y'all have a good one.